Hello, hello. So today I'm gonna be doing a little bit something different. I don't have anybody, set up or call in, but I did see this YouTube video where the city of Los Angeles has placed so far 66 probation officers on leave for misconduct, and it took me down memory lane, because I did witness some of that misconduct while I was in Central Juvenile Hall and Silmar Juvenile Hall. So that's nothing new. That's been going on. It's been going on for years. And I want to go ahead and share this. Let me see this YouTube video that I saw from KCAL News, Channel 9. That would be in LA. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this up on the screen in a moment. Let me see here. Where do uh, here we go.
You at 9 concerning new details about the state of LA County's juvenile justice system. This after the Department of Probation releases new information about the number of probation officers placed on leave.
KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers has been following all the twists and turns of this story. Mike, how many probation officers are we talking about here?
Since January 1st, the LA County Department of Probation says they have suspended 66 probation officers for misconduct, both in the juvenile facilities, which has been the primary problem, as well as in some of their adult facilities as well. 66, though, pretty staggering number here. I do want to show you some video, though. We've had issues, of course, in the past with all of this. The LA County Probation says 18 of the people that were suspended, those officers, were put on leave for suspected sexual misconduct. 9 of those were arrests unrelated to their employment. 39 put on leave for just general misconduct, things the department says included excessive force, child endangerment, child abuse, possession of contraband, and negligent supervision. The Department of Probation says things are so tough right now, they actually have to restructure their internal affairs division because of the way things were being run prior to this new probation chief coming in. Because of that, all of these
Man, and I definitely, want to throw in my 2 cents about the misconduct that I did see, while I was there. And I would say, it was happening on a daily occurrence. Um, some of the things that I did witness were, I remember this one time, and I know I've shared it before, having conversations with the gentlemen that come in and share their stories with um with me on these phone calls whenever I do them. Um, so one story I recollect would be once when I was in an AB unit in Central, and there was this juvenile that he had done graffiti on the floor, like early on in the day when we were having day room. And later on in the evening, I'm not sure if somebody told the staff about it, if they pointed it out to the staff, or if the staff noticed it on their own. But if you've been there before, it's like some the type of flooring. It was like some cheap flooring on there, and if you scratched it, as soon as you scratched it, it would immediately get white. I think if my memory doesn't fail me, that floor was green in AB unit. So I don't remember what neighborhood he was from, but I do remember they used to call him Boxer. I'm not sure if he was from. I think he was from Northeast LA, if I'm not mistaken. And this was like in about 90, 97. Anyhow, um, it was a trip because it was no, no, it was 98. It was 98. So the staff started investigating. There was a staff member named Mr. Ross. He was an older black gentleman, and he had this condition on his skin where his skin would lose its pigmentation. If you've been to that unit, you would know exactly who I'm talking about. So he was investigating, and the investigation was pretty much him asking the messengers. The messengers would be other wards that were tasked with doing things around the unit, whether it would be cleaning up, passing out the trays, things of that nature. Anyhow, so he proceeded to ask the messengers, what they knew about it, and I tripped on it because they pointed him out. They pointed out the guy that did it. So they ended up pulling him. They ended up pulling him out of his room or cell, whatever you want to call it. I don't even remember what they referred to it to as. But and it was later on in the evening. So later on in the evening, when we were getting ready to go to bed, normally you would take off your pants, you would roll them up, and you would place it outside the door, and you would put your sneakers above your pants. So when he came in, he only had a white T-shirt on, and he was in an underwear, like butt huggers, and he was sitting down like Indian style on the floor, and the staff were asking him like what he knew about it, and he said that he didn't know anything about it. He was denying it, which I don't blame him because I would have done the same thing. Anyhow, by the time they had brought him to the room, the staff already knew it was him already. So they were questioning him, they were going back and forth, and then I think finally he ended up admitting to it, and or I don't know, maybe he did. I don't remember, but I do remember this because this is clear as day. They proceeded to pull down his underwear, and they started pepper spraying him on it, all in his lower region, in places that you should never get pepper spray. And he, man, that poor kid, he was screaming. And the trippy part was that the staff, they did it in front of all of us, like all the everybody that was a messenger that was in that office. Like they didn't hesitate to do it in front of all of us. And looking at it back now, the only reason they would do something like that was because they were comfortable in nobody speaking up on it. And if somebody did speak up on it, and if they did send down investigators, and I also seen this, they would normally coerce or intimidate the kids that the investigators were going to come, asking any particular questions in regards to that specific incident, and they would tell them like, hey, you better not say anything. So when those investigators would come in, everybody would deny whatever happened. So that's why I feel they felt that confident or okay with doing these type of actions in front of other kids. Um, so after that pepper sprayed him, the kid screaming, he's screaming, and I mean the right thing to do would have been to take him to the shower so he could wash off, but nah, they didn't do that. What they ended up doing was they ended up walking him over to the box. And when they came back, they were laughing about it. And I was like, man, that sucks, because that pepper spray. If you've ever been pepper sprayed before, I've never been directly pepper sprayed up, but I have got some residue from it. It's nothing nice. So imagine getting pepper sprayed in that part of your body, and that stuff lingers. It takes days for it to come off. Um, I wear contacts, and I've gotten residue of that on my contacts, and it's taken maybe like 3-4 days before I don't feel it anymore. While I'm putting my contacts on. So just thinking about getting pepper sprayed in that area, I'm sure that kid he wasn't feeling too good for at least a few days. Anyhow, that's just one of the instances that I witnessed of probation officer misconduct. Another time that I witnessed you know um, misconduct with a probation officer was this other time when I was up in Silmar, and I think this was in 97, towards the end of my last first towards the end of my last I was on my first camp program, about to come home. And I was originally up in Camp Scudder, but I went down for medical. So whenever you had any medical issues, they couldn't handle it in the camp that you were in. Normally they would either send you to Silmar Central, or Los Padrinos. So the closest facility to where I was located at, which was what was it? Saugus, California. That would be close to Magic Mountain. They sent me over to Silmar. Anyhow, and you know what? And now that I think about it, I actually got two stories about this staff that I'm about to talk about next. Uh, so I'm gonna talk about the second story that I got because I remember about the first one after, and then I'll talk about that one after. Anyhow, there was this staff member called, or they used to call him Big Lou. I'm assuming his first name was Lou, but he was so big that they called him Big Lou. And what I mean big, as in he had like maybe like 20-inch arms. Like he was buff. He had some size on him. He was uh he was a black gentleman. And oh man, there was this kid. What did he do? So, and actually, see, I seen two staffs that day. That one was a 2-for-1 for the misconduct. Um, there was this one kid that was there. He was there for unaliving. He took somebody's life, and the staff told him, yeah, they told him. They told him to do something, and whatever they asked him to do, he didn't like, so he smacked his lips. He went, and when he did that, the staff, he slapped him. He just let him have it, 5 across the face. No, and you know what? And that wasn't Big Lou who did that, but Big Lou was there. The other staff was also, he was also a African American gentleman, but he was a little bit older, and he had like this swag about him, like kind of like he was PIMP. He always had like this long a leather a coat on him, and man, I seen him do, I seen him do that to a few, to a few other kids. Like that was his thing, letting them have it, right across his face. That which wasn't cool at all. Um, the other incident that I was talking about was with Big Lou, was when I was originally when I was heading to my first camp program. I was in unit, I think it was, I want to say JK. This was in '97. Hey, what's up, righteous monkey? Yo, yo, yo. I'm sharing some of my LA probation department experience, and it wasn't a 5-star hotel, if you catch my drift. Anyhow, um, so what happened? Oh, okay. So no, you know what? And sorry, this wasn't Unit JK. This was the unit before they would place you in JK, I think. I don't remember. Which is like so many different stories. They all, I get them all. They overlap. Anyhow, man, I was roomed up with this black kid. His name was McAllister, and man, this dude he would be like nonstop talking, and he was a rapper, or he thought, at least he thought he was a rapper. Nando, sup with it? I'm at work listening. Okay, that's right. That's what's up. Hey, I really appreciate it. Righteous Monkey, good seeing you, dog. Have having some wings and listening. That's right. Hell yeah. Um, so I'm trying to do this new thing where I'm trying to share my journeys, and trying to get comfortable with me speaking without having any interactions with anybody else. So that's why you don't see anybody or hear anybody on this on this stream, if you will. Vanessa, hey, saludos, hey, gracias, appreciate it. If you're still in here. And Tammy, I just saw that you sent me 18 roses on TikTok. Highly appreciated. Anyhow, so I was in this room. I was set up with McAllister, and McAllister, he was just like nonstop talking. He had like a million questions. Like he wanted to know like how long he was going to be in camp for. He wanted to get back on the streets because he was talking about having a contract to sign with a major record label. And mind you, we're like 15 years old, and this is back like in 90. This was like 97, my first camp program. So I'm like, man, this fool he's full of BS. He's just talking. He definitely had a mouthpiece on him. For being that age. And so for whatever reason, McAllister was talking to one of the messengers, which would be the equivalent as a trustee for those of you that have never been through the juvenile system. And so he was talking to him. I don't know about what, probably some lies, talking about maybe he had a Cadillac on Dayton's or something. Who knows? But Big Lou had instructed somebody to do something, and they refused to do it. And then he had the messenger go down there to relay his message, and somebody, screamed out of their room. They told the messenger to shut up, and Big Lou heard it, but he didn't know who it was. So what he proceeded to do was come out of his office, the staff office. So there was an office in between. If the unit would have two sides, it would have like for instance, let's say I was in JK unit. One side would be J, the other side would be K, and in between those two units there would be the staff office. So if you were in J unit, you couldn't interact with the kids that were in K unit. That office separated you. The only time that you could see somebody is if you guys both happen to walk to the staff door at the same time, and you could see each other uh, um, from that point. But other than that, like you really didn't have any interaction. I think maybe until you would go to school, or maybe you would go if they took us out to like play basketball or whatever sports they had going on for the day. Then you would have that interaction, with somebody from that unit. Anyhow, so he proceeds to pull everybody out from their cell, and he has everybody line up against like out right outside your cell, but next to the door. So if you had a celly, one person would be on the left to the door, and then the other person would be to the right, and you guys would have your back against the wall. So then he asks everybody. He starts asking. He just asks. He's like, "Hey, who told my messenger to shut up?" And he was like, "I'm only gonna ask once, and if you guys don't answer, then you are gonna pay for it," or something like that, something in that realm. So nobody fessed up. Nobody said who said it. So what he proceeded to do was he started punching everybody on the chest. And this wasn't like your normal, like your normal, like a little tap. Like once again, if you guys missed it, he was big. He had some size on him. He had 20-inch arms. And he goes up to the first kid. Did you say it? No. Pah! He just let loose. One sock to the chest, square of the chest. And he punched. He was punching. He was punching the kid so hard that when he punched you, you would hit the wall and you would bounce off the wall. That's how bad it was. As soon as you got hit, you fools were crying, like straight up, like they were crying. And so he just went down. He was going down the line. I would say like in every unit, maybe there would be like 50 kids per side. I think I'm just guessing. I never counted everybody, but at that time in the LA probation department, or the system, it was oversaturated. I think at that time the LA County Probation Department had over 20. I want to say either 22 or 27 actual camps, and not including the three facilities that held juveniles, which would be LP, Central, and Silmar. So it was definitely at its. I'm pretty sure it was maybe like whatever it was designed for. It was over its capacity. I could tell you that much. Anyhow, so he's going down the hall and just punching everybody. Boom, one after another. Boom. Hey, did you say? Was it you? Did you hear it? No. Bah, bah. He was just going down, and he's getting closer to me. He's getting closer to our room, and I'm like, oh man, like it's gonna be all bad. He's gonna break my bird chest. It's gonna be all bad. they're gonna have to. They're probably gonna have to wrap me up in a full body cast after he's done. So he's going down and he's going down. He's getting closer to our door. He's getting closer and he's getting closer and man, I'm scared. I'm scared, like straight up, like everybody. You could see the fear in everybody's eyes. There wasn't anybody there that that was looking forward to what he was about to serve us. So right as he's getting closer to our cell with McAllister, the trustee or the messenger, he tells him, "Hey, not them, not them from the room." And I was talking to McAllister when whoever said what they said, so they're good. So then he's like, "All right, then you guys are good. Go back into your cell." And man, up until that point, I never wanted to be in the room with McAllister. But after that happened, I was like, man, good thing I have McAllister, and good thing he never shuts up. Because if it wasn't for McAllister, running his mouth all day, every day, 24/7, man, we would have caught one to the chest. And man, I remember there was one of the kids that got it was like there was this Paisa kid. He didn't speak any English. Like he didn't even know what was going on. Like like you could tell like he was like a deer in a stuck in headlamps or headlights. And he didn't know what was happening, but he figured out quickly as soon as a Big Lou started punching everybody in their chest. He knew what time it was. That man, I think out of everybody that got hit, I felt I felt the worst for him because he definitely didn't have it coming, and he got it. But that's the way it was. Um, man, it was just all kinds of stuff, going on in the juvenile system at that time, and for the news or for these organizations to start picking it up now, man, I'm sure this was going on since the beginning of the system, the juvenile system. This is nothing new. I remember, I'm not sure if it was before the pepper spray incident or after, but it was the same unit. They had some investigators had came in. I don't know exactly like the title or who they work for, but the staff made us aware that they were going to come investigate, and if you saw anything in regards to the investigation that they were conducting, that it was in your best interest not to share that information with the investigators. The only thing I was able to get was that I think they had beat somebody up, and then that juvenile that they beat up, he ended up reporting it to his parents, and then his parents ended up reporting it. So I'm pretty sure their protocol was to actually send somebody down and investigate it. But with these investigations, you were never gonna get the truth, just because I mean you're that's your life. I mean you're in there. I mean if you speak up on it, they're definitely gonna pencil whip you or move you around, to make it harder for them to speak to you. And I saw it, and this I did see. They had spoken to one of the kids that did witness it, and he said that he didn't see anything, that kid made it up, and that it wasn't true, and it sucks, because it was true, and they just covered it up. So they definitely gotten away with those type of actions for years or possibly decades. Like this is the first time in the last few years, it's when it's starting to become a little bit more common, where the news is picking up on the misconduct that's going on or has gone on in the past in the juvenile system. So I'm pretty sure the news is reporting on 66 LA probation department officers being placed on leave. But I mean, if they really knew, what was going on, I'm definitely it would be the numbers would be definitely a lot higher than what they are now. And right now, I'm gonna go ahead and play a little bit more on this broadcast here. I've added a link to to the YouTube description if you guys want to watch the full video. Hopefully, I'm not sure exactly how it works. 'Cause, I've never done anything like this as far as sharing any other videos on YouTube. So hopefully I'm doing it right. And I guess if I'm not, then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna find out soon enough. And here we go with the rest of this news broadcast here.
These cases have been given to the actual state attorney general's office that is now conducting investigations. You remember we showed you that video not too long ago where several probation officers were accused of just standing around while kids were fighting each other inside of these day rooms. Those officers are included in this 66, but in total 66 probation officers placed on leave for their alleged misconduct. Some of them were off the job alleged misconduct. Probation Department says they are releasing these numbers to increase transparency. They say they're trying to regain the trust of the public after everything that has gone on in the juvenile justice system. They also wanted to point out that this is a small fraction of their 2,800 sworn employees. I did ask the department how many of these employees, or how many total employees, work within the juvenile system. They have not gotten back to me with that number. Guys?
All right. Well, I'm sure you'll let us know when you get it. Thanks so much, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for letting us know, for putting out this information. So, I'm pretty sure I got way more stories, that I witnessed on that. I just gotta dig through my vault and you know, f- think about those stories. I know I saw this other time when I was in Camp Anazuka, which would be located in Lancaster. That camp has since been closed, and it was located inside Camp Challenger. Inside Camp Challenger, there was six. There was actually six camps in one, and it was the biggest one out of all of them, because normally the other camps, it would either be one camp by itself or two camps at the most, right next to each other. But for whatever reason, when they built this facility, it housed six units or six dorms, because they were all dorms. It was three dorms on one side, and or three buildings, and then inside those buildings there were dorms, and then on the other side there was a wall that divided it, and there was like a school down the middle where we would attend. In each camp had its own school that you would attend, and then also there was a reception center. And the reception center was, once you left Silmar and they didn't have any space for you in Challenger, they would put you up in reception for a week or two or whatever time, and then when bed space opened up at the camp you were going to go to, then they would go ahead and place you in whatever designated camp you were going to be going to. And then the other side of the reception center, instead of it being a reception center, it was the box. So if your camp didn't have a unit to house you, like if you got into a fight, or if you were misbehaving or whatever, they would drive you over from whatever camp, and they would drop you off in that box there, and and then once your time was up, then they would move you back. I had a pretty sucky experience at in the box once. That time, what did I ended up? I only ended up in the box twice, and it was because and it wasn't because the staff members caught me directly. What ended up happening was people would tell on me, which sucked. This one time, I was so I would have to go back to the street. So when I was in the street, and just so everybody, we're on the same page, I never gangbang. I was never involved in any type of gang or anything like that. But I did run the streets. You had to, or at least I had to. But I wasn't part of a gang. I never got involved in a gang. I've never participated in a neighborhood per se. So when I was in the street, I was involved in graffiti. I was what was known as a tagger. I was doing that. That was my thing. And I knew I was gonna go to camp, and normally I would be the type of person that would prepare. So I would get my things ready. So I would have a bag ready now to my mom, like, here, hey, I'm gonna go to camp. When I go to camp, just drop this off. I would have my paper to write letters, my envelopes, magazines, my soap, deodorant and things of that nature. It was a trip because I don't think I ever met anybody that would get stuff ready like that before going in. But I was the type of person that I like certain things, so to rely on my mom to give me those things those brands or those things that I wanted, it was gonna be like a scavenger hunt. So I would get my things ready. So like that once I got to where I was gonna go to, I already had my things there once my mom would come drop it off. Anyhow, since I wasn't involved in graffiti, uh, I would carry the tools. So this would be my first camp program. I brought with me, which was a arrowhead or a scriber, and I brought it with me all the way up to Camp Challenger, and I was writing on everything, man. So like I'm going through the halls, I'm writing in the restrooms, I'm writing in the rooms, I'm hitting up everywhere, like anywhere that I could, that there was space for me to get up on, I was doing that. So when I got up to Challenger, and this was maybe like 2 months later, I finally ended up arriving at Challenger Camp Resnick, and I still have my scriber on me, and I'm hitting everything up. I'm hitting up in the dining area. I'm hitting up on my bed. I'm hitting up at school. I'm hitting up everywhere. So what ended up happening was I had got a hold of this book, and I had brought it back with me to the dorm, and then I had lent this particular book out. It was like a dictionary or something, a really thick dictionary. It was probably about this big, and and when I ended up getting the dictionary back, I ended up tagging on it on the outside of it, like on the outside, so like the pages are here. So I tagged with a pencil on the outside of the pages. So I ended up handing it over to some other kid, and this kid ended up telling the staff that I wrote in his book. And the staff were tripping out because during this time, graffiti, kind of like the graffiti phase, had kind of like fizzled out by 97. The graffiti, like when graffiti was really at its peak, would have to be like in the early 90s. So I'm on the late train. So they ended up taking me to the box. And then after I hit the box, all kinds of people were telling on me. They were like, "Oh, this he wrote here, he wrote there, he wrote." They were just dropping all kinds of information on me. So my probation officer or my caseload came to visit me, and he was like, "Man, we haven't had a graffiti problem like this in years." Like they were amazed, at the stuff that I did. And when he came to visit me, they were talking about that they wanted to send me back to court, uh, uh, trying to bring me up on new charges. They were trying to 602 me. But up until that point, I didn't have any issues. That was like my one of my first major issues that I had while I was in camp. And the reason I'm sharing this story to you is because these people are in charge of, they have only one thing to do, and their thing is, to supervise you and make sure you're okay. And while I was in the box there was no restroom. Anytime you needed to use a restroom, you had to knock on the door to notify them that you want to use the restroom. And on this particular day, like as soon as I needed to use the restroom, I knocked on the door, and nobody ever came. So I had been knocking on the door for maybe like an hour, maybe like an hour and a half. It had been some time I had been knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door, and they wouldn't come. Like they wouldn't come, and I'm like, man, like I gotta use the restroom. Like I'm like pacing around, like damn, like what am I gonna do? Like what am I gonna do? I gotta use the restroom. And going on myself, passing a bowel movement on myself is just it's not an option. It's not an option. So I kept on knocking on the door. For I don't know, who knows? I don't know if there was a football game going on, or what the hell they were doing in their office, but they were just ignoring it. They were ignoring the knocks. So then, it just got to the point that I had to go. So what I ended up doing was, we were, I think we were allowed to keep our towels inside our cell. So I got that towel and I just put it in the corner, and I did my thing. And then when they came to pick up the trash, because we had just ate, I just threw it out with the trash, and that was that. I was just out of towel. But it kind of sucks, when you're in situations like that, and the people that are in charge of, just allowing you to do your basic needs, can't even fulfill those needs. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just sharing. I'm not sure if anybody else has been through something like that, but it's definitely not cool. And another thing that just popped up into my mind, and this is back to when I was in AB unit. Back to the same staff that had pepper sprayed that one dude boxer. He I mean, don't get me wrong, the dude, I mean, he had swag. He was really cool. He was cool up until a point, but looking at it back now, a lot of the stuff that he was doing wasn't cool. And one of the things that I do remember him doing was, I remember one time he brought like, he had a stack of pornographic pictures, and he was showing them to us. And I think at this time I was probably like 16, maybe like 16, so I was a little bit older. But so he was showing us these pictures, and we look at the pictures, and it's pictures of him, like, getting down with some other lady. And then now I look at things like that, and I'm like, man, like if I was a parent and my kid was in the situation like that, like, I wouldn't want a staff, to be, showing them, that type of material. I'm pretty sure, I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure he's gone already. um and it's not like they're gonna do anything about, what I'm talking about right now. But those are some of the things that I remember that happened when I was in the juvenile system. And I'm pretty sure all kinds of other things were going on, but I could only speak on the things that I saw with my very own eyes. And looking at this YouTube video on them talking about they suspended 66 LA County probation officers. It got me thinking about my whole experience in that system. I'm pretty sure other people they've had way worse experience than that. Fortunately for me, that was the extent of my experience. um I will say that there was some good staff in there, and one staff that I could definitely speak on that I do remember, that he was a really cool staff, would be Mr. Dozier from Camp Anazuka. And I was in Camp Anazuka in 1998. And he was a really cool staff. I remember he used to, at that time, is when the PlayStation 1 had came out. It hadn't been out that long, and he would bring it in. He would bring in at that time Tekken 3 had just came out. And I was one of the few people that didn't know how to play Tekken. I'm pretty sure none of these, like, a lot of these other people, they probably didn't have any experience with Tekken or a PlayStation, just because it was expensive at that time. And I was fortunate to have one when I was in the street. And whenever he ran day room, he would always hook up his PlayStation, and he would pass out the controller, and whoever lost had to give the controller to the next person. And normally I was able to hold on to the controller, a lot longer than everybody else, because, like I said, I mean, I used to play that. And and sometimes, like whenever, because I guess, like, the staff, they're required to stay at that camp for 3 days. I think it was 3 days. They had to stay there like three 3 days in a row, like nonstop, without actually leaving the actual camp. They had to sleep there. So when he was like during his off time when he wasn't running a unit, like sometimes he would pull us, like whoever like did like playing and he he got along with pretty cool. He would pull us from the dorm and he would pull us over to the school and we would just chill and just play video games all day, which was I thought it was pretty cool. Not having to focus on camp. You got to get away from that normal interaction that we had in camp at that moment. I'm pretty sure I had other positive interactions with staff, because it wasn't all bad, and I'm not trying to definitely not trying to smut everybody up, but these things do happen, and I just wanted to throw my 2 cents uh, uh, about it, the things that I've seen. But anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it short. And I really appreciate you guys, whoever tuned in, whether it was the YouTube side or the TikTok side. I have some other videos I might be uploading. I'll be uploading maybe today. Maybe I got a little bit of free time right now. Um, and I'll go ahead and I'll get that out to you. All right. Well, like I say around here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, I am out.